Hello and a very good evening. My name is Mrinal Dhar. I'm a co-founder with Pinaka Transformations, and I'm joined with a wonderful lady, my co-founder in Pinaka Transformations, Nupur Saxena. Together, we are going to take you through on this amazing framework for storytellers. Thank you for waiting for us. Thank you for being patient. We're having certain system glitches, and we should be done with them in 24 hours. So bear with us. Okay, I believe Nupur is there. Hi, Nupur. Good evening.
Hi, Mrinal. Good evening.
Okay, so
Hi everyone. This is Nupur here, and a very good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being there. So, Mrinal and me are going to have as we have already shared, a conversation about storytelling. So, Mrinal, could you please lead us with the session?
sure. Thank you so much. And before we begin, we would like to just give you a brief glimpse of who we are. I am a cognitive neuro coach. I love neuroscience. Neuroscience is my beloved. I am very fond of cognitive neuroscience, and I'm the creator of the granular self theory. Nupur, my partner in crime, is a great lover of stories, poetry, and metaphors. She especially loves metaphors. Am I correct, Nupur?
Yes, very much. Very rightly said, Mrinal. Poetry is something I thrive when I'm surrounded by poetry and metaphors. It's so that is what I love, and I also love fiction stories. What makes a character believable? Why do fiction affect us so much? So these are the things which have always got me interested and pulled me towards them, and a little bit of neuroscience, how it affects us. So, but poetry is something which brings out the best of me.
In you.
So, yeah.
Yes. So this is our background, and that's why together we formed Pinaka Transformations. At Pinaka Transformations, we were absolutely clear why Pinaka, why are we creating an entity? We were absolutely clear, and the clarity was we love what we have just spoken about. So we love neuroscience, we love metaphors, we love language, we love how these things are intertwined and they create a lot of meaning and happiness for us. Okay, so that's enough for who we are. Now let's quickly get into the driver's seat about the framework. Uh, there is an oft repeated challenge which is brought out in public by various storytellers, whether they are from advertising, marketing, or they are influencers, or they are writers, they're creative writers, they are poets or novelists. One thing that comes up, and which Nupur and I also discussed, is that in the beginning, it is so exciting to think about what we want to write. It is so exciting to think about the character. But slowly and slowly, the imagination dries up. Okay, and when once the imagination starts drying up, we don't know, something is missing. It's like I know what I want to write, but I don't know where. It's not coming out, it's not coming into my head. So that is what is one of the benefits of the granular self. The granular self gives us a framework. For example, I'll just give you an example to all of you here. Suppose I ask you to draw a house. I just said draw a house. Okay. Vis-a-vis, if I ask you to draw a house on a beach surrounded by mountains, in which case do you think you will be able to quickly run your imagination? In which case? Obviously, the second one, because the second one gives you a framework. It gives you a beach, it gives you mountains. Immediately, your imagination attaches itself to the framework. And that's where it starts playing with the framework. What kind of beach? Should it be muddy? Should it be clear water? Beaches can be of hundreds of kinds, okay? Mountains around the beaches can be of hundreds of kinds. Where would you put your house? Would you put it on the beach, seaside, or would you put it there on the mountain? So much comes to your mind just because I gave you a framework. Now, in this case, the beach and the mountains are static. They cannot change, they're static. So, again, your imagination will not get a lot of room to play around with it. But the framework we are going to talk about today will give you that's not static at all, that's very flexible. It's going to give you a lot of room. You can tweak it as you may want to tweak it. Okay, so if you guys are ready, I would like to begin with the first layer of the brainular self, which will help you to create characters. Okay, I would request all of you to get your pens and papers. I'm absolutely fine to wait for you for another 60 seconds. Get your pens and papers, please. It's going to be really, really very beneficial. Okay, so please get your pens and papers. All right. Okay, now you see, a character is not merely a character. A character has a mind, okay? Now, what is that mind? The character has an internal dialogue. The character is talking to himself about his own story, and the character is building stories outside. The internal dialogue is layer one of the granular self, and the external dialogue with the environment around is the layer two of the granular self. Okay, so let's talk about layer one. How do we begin? The first thing I would like to ask you, not your character, you can keep the character on the side at the moment. I would like to ask you, how many selves do you have? How many selves do you have? Okay. For example, I'll talk about myself. If somebody asks me how many cells do you have, the first thing that will come to my mind, okay, my first self is that of a neuroscientist. I'm a terrific neuroscientist. I'm an independent researcher. I have been researching cognitive neuroscience, embodied cognition, how brain creates mind for the last 9 years. So that's my first self. That's who I am. I'm a brilliant neuroscientist. I'm a cognitive neurocoach. I'm an independent researcher. That's my first self. Okay. Then you may ask me, Mrinal, what is your second self? Is there any other self? And I will be like, yeah, I am a son to a mother. That is my second self. I'm son to a mother. Okay. Okay. Then the third thing, you may ask me, are these only two selves, or do you have another self? And I will be like, no, I think I have another self. That self is, I think I love spirituality, though I don't understand what spirituality means. I have a guru. Her name is Bhagwan Ma Anandamayi. I follow her. I read about spirituality and the spiritual gurus. I read about what they talk about in consciousness, what they mean that consciousness is separate from brain. I like to correlate it with my subject, neuroscience, cognitive neuroscience. So three cells. I just gave you the example of three cells I have. One is the cognitive neurocoach, neuroscientist. The second one is that I'm a son. The third one is that I am a spiritualist. Okay, I have a guru. Okay. Similarly, Nupur has a couple of cells. Let's ask Nupur. Nupur, we have done this exercise before, but we would love to hear you again. Tell us
And
about the cells you have.
Thank you, Mrinal. And actually, the it's a very great metaphor which you have shared about how you the framework applies on all of us. Also, because we have been through this exercise, but still, I would also like to add how when I think about myself. So, for example, I would say that first, the self is I am a mother, and I'm a mother and mother to son, wife to husband. Then I am a spiritual. I have called something like a spiritual mindset. So that is a, and the writer self, the poetry lover self, the metaphor lover self. So that's how I will define my various self, which and also as an addition to this, I would also say like a kind of entrepreneur as a self. So there are so many self, and it when we think about these self, it also give a kind of a framework for understanding who we are. So that's something which is there. As an example, you I have thought about that which is the self I most relate to. So I relate, I connect as a writer, as a poet, as someone who would love words. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. So I hope it has helped you. It has given you a kind of framework. How can you organize your thoughts? And I believe me, it's going to be a really, really good exercise. Just as Mrinal said, just pick up a pen and paper and just jot it down, and you will be thrilled to see what comes from within.
Absolutely, definitely. So Nupur has, I think, four selves. Nupur talked about being a mother to a son, being a wife to a wonderful husband, being a writer, a poet, being a spiritualist, and being an entrepreneur. So there are five selves. Okay. Now,
Yes, yes.
all of you write down your own selves also. Don't go to your character now. First, delve deep inside you. Your character will come outside from your own self. Okay. So write down about your number of cells. Write down how many cells do you have. How do you look at yourself? Do you look at yourself as somebody working in a corporate environment? Give it a name, a project manager, a product manager, a CEO, a COO, okay, an innovator, okay, an evangelist, a VC. Give it a name, okay. Do you look at yourself as a husband or a father, as things like these? Do you have some other self like a painter? You identify yourself as a painter. Write down those selves, okay, all of you. All right. Now that you have written yourselves, without thinking, without even thinking, just tell me out of 10, how warm do you feel about being that self? Warm means how good you feel about being that self. Okay, what kind of warmth do you get when you think of yourself as that self? Okay, let me do this exercise on myself. Nupur has already done this exercise on myself, and I got some great revelations. Okay, so let me tell you very quickly. As a cognitive neuro coach and a neuroscientist, the kind of warmth I feel being this self, that's a cognitive neuro coach and neuroscientist, it's 20 out of 10. Not 10 out of 10, 20 out of 10. Okay. All right. That's self number one. Then let's go to self number two. Self number two was spiritualist. So as a spiritualist, I feel 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Okay. Don't reason, don't rationalize your answers. Let the answers flow as it is. Because layer one of the granular self is your emotional engine. It is your emotional engine. Emotional engine is non cognitive in nature. It is non cognitive. It does not think, it simply feels. It simply feels. So don't rationalize your answers. So as a spiritualist, the warmth I get is 8 out of 10, or maybe even 6 out of 10. Because you may ask me, why did you say 6 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, Mrinal? Because I want to be closer to my Guru, Bhagwan Mahanandamai. I feel there is a distance. Okay, that warmth is missing. I want to be next to her. I want to embrace her. I want to keep my head in her lap. Okay, uh, that's my second self. The third self is the sun. What warmth do I feel as a sun? I would say 8. Okay, 8. Again, you may ask me, Mrinal, why do you feel 8 out of 10 as a son? Because my mother is ailing. She is old. So that kind of decreases my warmth. It hurts me to see her ailing, to see her in this condition. Okay. So you see, when you use the language of the brain and you deep dive into the cells, you get a lot of details. You get a lot of details. When you use the language of the language of the brain here is, what kind of warmth do you feel as that self? Ask yourself and don't rationalize. Don't try to influence yourself. Let your heart speak the way it wants to speak. As this self, I feel 10 out of 10. Why? Because of these reasons. As this self, I feel 7 out of 10 because of these reasons. As this self, I feel 1 out of 10 because of these reasons. Please write down all the reasons for the kind of warmth you feel. Write down. And write it for as many cells as you have. All right? Okay. Now, you know your reasons also. So, you see, you are bringing out the layer one of your cells. All the cells, not one cell, all the cells. It is giving you a 360-degree view of your own life. It is giving you a 360-degree view of your own emotional engine. It is giving you a 360-degree view. Because what happens is, when we are imagining or thinking or we are introspecting, we are not able to look into all the cells one by one. Point number one. And point number two, we don't ask in the language of the brain. The language of the brain is, how warm do you feel? So, if the warmth is less, that means you feel very cold. And if you feel very cold, you would have your own reasons. If you feel very warm, you'll have your own reasons. Okay. Now, because we are into storytelling and we are trying to get into the mind of a character, why don't you all tell me? You can write down in the comments. The chat will come to me, okay? Because we are multi-streaming, so the chats will come to us from YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. You just have to write down in the comments wherever you are at the moment. Write down, what is the name of your character and how many selves does that character have? Write down. Whatever comes to your mind, write down. Whatever sells it. He's a fisheries inspector. He's an important stakeholder in your company. He is somebody who owns a fleet of cars which he gives out as cabs, anything, whatever this person is. Write down how many selves does this person have. All right? And now ask yourself, think, put your imagination to the framework. Now think and ask yourself, what kind of warmth does he feel in each self and why? Write down. What kind of warmth he feels or she feels, this person feels in each self and why? 10 out of 10, why? 8 out of 10, why? 2 out of 10, why?
And one pro tip I would also like to share with everyone here, that just don't get limited to just one or one reason. If you wish to write two, three reasons of why, just go ahead with it. Just jot it down. That if it is 10, maybe if you have 10 reasons, if it, if you,
Absolutely.
so just you can just jot it down. You don't have to stick to one.
More the reasons, better the storyteller. And yes, the reasons could be your own. The character's life and your own life can coincide. So it's okay. Don't worry about that. It can happen. All right. It can happen. All right. Now, also ask, let's use part two of the language of the brain. Part two. The first was warmth. We asked, how warm does the character feel in all these selves? Also asked, how safe does he or she feel as those selves? For example, if I talk about myself as a son, I feel 8 out of 10, the warmth. But do I feel safe enough? I feel, when it comes to safety, I feel 5 out of 10. I'm worried about my mother. She's ailing, she's old. So that's the safe. Do I feel safe in that self? Ask yourself and think about your characters and their various selves. Do they feel that safe? Now, if you look at the paper in front of you, suddenly out of nowhere, you seem to know the emotional world of your character. Suddenly, you know what your character feels. You know what kind of emotions your character has and why. Warmth and safety are the two fundamental emotions of an emotional engine. The emotional engine we all have. The root emotions are warmth and safety. From that root emotion sprout all the other emotions. And suddenly you know this person feels 10 out of 10 warmth as an entrepreneur. However, he feels 2 out of 10 safety as an entrepreneur. Now you know the reasons. Why does he feel 10 out of 10 warmth? You will have your own reasons. Your brain is going to give you all the reasons because you're talking language of the brain. And then it will tell you, your brain will tell you, but safety wise, he feels 2 out of 10. Because of these reasons. That is the layer one of the brain self. The layer one gives you the emotional engine. And now you can write down about what is the past of the character, what is the present of the character, what could be the future possibilities of the character with respect to its emotional engine. That's layer one of the brain self. Layer two is the cognitive self. That is broader. That is more complex. That has several sub schemas and internal forces operating on those sub schemas. Layer one is your emotional engine, which is two dimensional. Layer two is your cognitive engine, which is three dimensional. And then comes at last layer three, which is your perception engine. That is where your topographical maps, the whole map of the life you are living, comes out the way we experience world outside. Topographical maps tell you what kind of world you are living in. And fortunately, topographical maps, that is the third layer, that is the perception world, perception engine, gives us the free will to change ourselves. All right. So we have done layer one today. We did layer one intervention with Nupur, and Nupur, I think within 2 days, within 48 hours, came out with, I think, which is her best work till date. And she sent that poem to, I think, some 20, 40 people, and everybody replied to her telling her it has pierced their heart. That is the intensity in that poem. I would request Nupur to pick up that poem. I'm not a writer.
Okay. Thank you, Mrinal. And first of all, I would like to also add, when writing about self, when Mrinal asked this kind of question, that how much warmth I feel as a writer. And no doubt I said 10. And in all other selves, I was like 7, 8, 4, 5. And there were reasons. So that also kind of reinforced this identity of that, okay, this is something which is within, and this is something, as Mrinal is saying, it's the emotional engine. So once that emotional engine gets triggered to be told that, okay, you have the power, then that poem and everything also came out. So yes, I would love to uh, recite it here, and I would love to talk about it. So and how it started is that the name of the poem itself is not a writer, because all these years there was this thinking going on that I have not maybe published anything, I have not done. But the thought was that because I love to write, so I started with that thought that I'm a writer and I just love to write. So maybe I'm not a writer, like in the conventional way, in the so-called, the what do we validated way, but that was something which came out. So the poem is, maybe I'm not a writer, it's just that sometimes my temper, my voice, my desires long to be embraced by paper, so I pick it up along with stains of me and some blue ink, hoping it will love me back a little. And
Beautiful.
sometimes it does. Maybe it is the ink blots on my hand that give me the stamp of sanity. So I write a word or two, and then my heart becomes a little less chaotic. I write about how it feels when I pretend to be something I'm not. From all the selves, this came.
Yes.
And how my heart aches so much that it feels as though it will explode with grief. Maybe the grief of losing this self which I love. So I'm just talking also about how it came along, but it heals. So sometimes I write about how badly I want to tell certain people what they mean to me. Yet instead, I write it down and bury it. The words scream to reach the ears and eyes of someone kind. You not being able to share, not being able to express. Some I write because I do not have a successful story to share, and I do not have completed a quest. So I write about a poetry about not having a story.
Beautiful.
I
Beautiful.
write because otherwise something will explode outward or pierce me from within. I write because I desire these stains and blots of sanity. Maybe I just write to feel alive. Oh, my blue colored ink, how you spread across the paper without inhibition, like a river rushing free when a dam finally breaks. Maybe I'm not a writer. The river inside me is waiting for someone or something to allow it to scatter like my ink. Perhaps it will leave stains on some people through its journey of existence. Through its journey of existence of myself is what I meant here, I think. Maybe I'm not a writer, but someone who writes the path, my path, proofreads it and put it on a vintage paper with my name below, which is Nupur. So here is the poem. Thank you, Mrinal, for giving me again a chance to recite it here, and I hope everyone was
Absolutely loved it.
there
Absolutely loved it.
to
I'm sure all
thank
of
you
you must
everyone
have.
here for listening.
I'm sure everybody over here who's listening to us must have observed how Nupur's self of writer is also correlating with the other selves. If you heard a couple of lines, were insinuating, were hinting to how does she feel that the writer is trapped in other selves,
Yeah.
and that writer self wants to get free so that the writer self can blossom completely.
Yes,
So,
yes,
ladies
yes.
and gentlemen, that's the power of layer one. That's the beauty of layer one, and that's why we are having this conversation today. This is the reason Nupur and I wanted to go live with you and talk to you, is because both of us feel that one mistake that writers from all the areas, from all the professional areas commit is they go to layer two quickly. That is the cognitive layer, that's the thinking layer. The problem is the thinking layer is born out of the emotional engine, which is born out of that engine where there are only emotions, warmth and safety. Now, the emotional engine, the layer one, does not think. So that's what the writers face as a block. The writer's block is thinking block. So the mistake they are committing is they are trying to think about layer one. That can never happen. Layer one is only emotional engine. You can't think about it. You can just put your imagination into the framework and feel about it. Once the emotional engine is ready, then you go to the cognitive one. Okay. Now, what will surprise you is, uh, did you write that poem recently, Nupur? The one which you sent me yesterday?
No, no, no. That is, I think, 4 years back.
4 years back. Let's let's see What is the emotional engine? If you if you go into your emotional engine, the details which will come out will actually shake you. You will be shaken by your own emotional engine. Listen to Nupur's emotional engine in another poem. Your heart will be pierced. Nupur, please.
Okay, I just okay. So this is the poem I wrote, I think 4 years back. I just shared it yesterday or day before yesterday, because I thought it's line with what I'm feeling also right now. So the name of the poem is, that has been the theme of my life. What do you want? So so instead of anyone else coming up to me and asking me, what do you want? I thought of asking it myself, what do you want? So that's how it goes. What do you want? A question I ask myself a lot. Road to travel towards boulevard of hidden desires, or a home built and cemented on the guilt of just being you. A tiny fraction of peace, a lifetime of running. Will I ever know what lies ahead without stepping on those broken leaves, shedding themselves every season, carving out a small path, calling you out for change? You sit near that porch with yellow cups and those slippers you adore. Sometimes you just wait on the steps and you roar in silence as you are just too exhausted to march towards what lies ahead.
You.
So that is the poem, that is the ending of the poem. What do you want?
That is again emotional engine of Nupur, and that is the emotional engine of the self-called writer. But if you notice, Nupur is talking about, it's an existential problem. It's an existential question. Who am I? What is my purpose? So the writer is asking that question. The writer self is asking that question from the other selves, that what is your purpose? Why do you exist? So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe this live event was there to help you understand the layer one. And I think with whatever presentations Nupur and I gave you today, you would have some good idea about what to do with layer one and how to get into it. I would quickly give you a recap. The recap is, the first you have to identify how many cells does your character have. You ask yourself, how many cells do you have? Once you know that you have so many cells, that gives you an idea that your character will also have various cells. Step number two, you ask yourself, how warm and safe do you feel as each self? Warm separately, safe separately. How warm and safe do you feel as each self? Once you give it a number, you automatically start asking yourself, why do I feel so warm and so little safe as this self? Why do I feel so little warm and so safe, so high safe in this self? Why do I feel so warm and so safe in this self? And why do I feel no warmth and a lot of safety in this self? You get to suddenly know the emotional engine of all yourselves. Once you know the emotional engine of all yourself, you start applying that on your character and you ask, how does my character feel? What kind of warmth and safety my character feels in all the cells? Once you answer that, you will automatically be asking yourself, Why does the character feel this warm and this safe? And the details will flourish and your imagination will get its wings. Ladies and gentlemen, uh, we're going to run this as a workshop, as a training program. It's going to be a 5 days training program for storytellers. It is going to be 3 hours every day for 5 days. And we would request you to get in touch with us. We are Pinaka Transformations LLP. Our website address is there, www.pinaka.com. We also have a WhatsApp phone number. Nupur, can you read out the WhatsApp phone number, please?
Yes, yes, I'll read it out. Just so the WhatsApp number is 7452 plus 91 7452 843984.
All right. So, guys, you can message us, get in touch with us through our website. My name is Mrinal Dhar. My co-partner here is Nupur. We are there on LinkedIn. Get in touch with us. We are going to roll out actually 5 training programs. The first one is for storytellers, and that will be rolled out around 20th July. Okay, so we'll have uh, you know 3 days of the long weekend plus Monday and Tuesday. Okay,
Yes.
so thank you very much for being here with us and joining this live event. Thank you for being patient. We had some system glitches and hope to see you soon. Over to you, Nupur.
Yeah, thank you, Mrinal. And in case anyone who would likes to reiterate again about the kind of questions Mrinal has asked and want to do the exercise, we will also be uploading this on the YouTube channel. So if you want to go through the exercise again, understand it, and then do it, and then also leave us a comment there if you want to connect with us and if you want to understand something more about it. I hope I don't hope, I just know that this exercise must have helped you, or at least just trying to understand. We all say, know yourself, go within, but this is like a framework of that, because otherwise it all sounds so vague.
Right,
So that is
absolutely, completely agreed. Yes,
so
yes,
that is very interesting also. And thank you for listening to the poetry again, and thank you everyone here. Have a very good evening and the coming weekend.
and see you
Do
soon.
See you soon. Yeah, thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.